Okay. I just realized this. I was on Facebook. I don't actually come on Facebook very often. But I was asking someone a question and went to pull up I was just like looking at this picture that I posted October 19th, 2022, after I'd moved down to Cedar Island. I thought for a good long time in North Carolina. And I took this picture one morning as the sun was coming up, and I was about to go into the barn, and I went and blew up this picture. Here we go, like that. And there we go. See off to the right there? Just another little bit of evidence. There's Jorge taking feed out to the 3 horses that we used to have out here in these 3 stalls. So it was Willie, initially it was Willie and Buck and Butterscotch that we had out in these stalls. At this time, it was they were still out there because they had just had strangles. So this is off to the left-hand side of the barn. If you're looking at the barn from the front, facing it. Off in the background there, you see some of the dune cows ranging. And there's Jorge. He wore that blue hoodie sweatshirt a lot. And you should be able to get a good sense of his height at least. And he was a thin little skinny mini chicken bone. He had no butt. None. I happened to turn around in the barn one day, in the back of the barn, just at the right moment to catch him like bending over near the bales of hay. And I realized, like, damn, he's got nothing back there. It's like a skeleton wearing pants. Seriously. He's got the skinniest, scrawniest little chicken legs and 0 butt. No butt whatsoever. So, just in case you need, like, a description, in case immigration needs to know what he looks like to find him, he's a skinny, short, little, weaselly dude with no butt whatsoever. And the skinniest freaking skeleton chicken legs I've ever seen. But there you go. There's Jorge working in the barn. Going out to feed the horses. Again, illegal immigrant. David Sansing employed to work in his barn and to work over me. To tell me what to do. Just so everyone's clear on that. I did as I was told by Jorge in that barn. I was not placed in charge of the barn. Again, because just so people, it can be made clear to people that legally, I think that David probably would get into some trouble for that, for leaving an illegal immigrant in charge of that barn. When there were lives at stake, and there were there's the well-being of horses at stake, so on and so forth, especially when he was using the American citizen who was working in that barn, myself, as basically a beard. And he would likely, again, so if any legal questions were asked, what David likely would have presented to people was that I was the one in charge of that barn, but I wasn't. So just in case, I'm gonna start talking to some people about who I can discuss that with, because I really do think that that there should be some kind of legal action taken against David Sansing for setting up that situation where I would have taken the fall if anything had happened to a rider. I would have been the one to take the fall because David would not have been able to admit legally that he had hired an illegal immigrant and that he had the illegal immigrant running that barn. So if anything had gone wrong, it would have been pinned on me so that David could have saved himself. They would have set me up. They would have fingered me for the blame of anything that happened in that barn, even though I was under the orders of Jorge Camacho Rivera because he was placed in charge of that barn while Jeremy Edwards, the barn manager, was gone on a 3-month vacation. So again, Jorge Camacho Rivera right there. And that is definitely not Quinn. Quinn is taller, by the way. Even though he's a 16-year-old kid, he's taller than myself or Jorge. Jorge was right around my height. Like, give or take an inch. We were about eye to eye with one another. Quinn was already a noticeably taller, not significantly taller, but noticeably taller than myself. He was taller than Jorge. And Quinn was not as skinny. Not nearly. Not by a mile. So, that's a skinny mini little Mexican dude right there named Jorge Camacho Rivera. And this is one of the few times that he managed to get out to the barn before I did. Well, technically, I think actually on this day, we both were like walking up to the barn at the same time. But I stepped off to the side to take some pictures of the sunrise. And he went right in and started feeding them real quick. And I just caught up. And yeah. Yep, so just pointing that out. More evidence that David St. Singh had an illegal immigrant working in that barn, running that barn, and he only had me there for show and for legal purposes. And if anything had gone wrong in that barn, he would have fingered me for the blame. And I think that he likely would have made it so that Jorge would have just disappeared off to the High Point location, or who knows? It's a big world. It's a big country. I'm sure there were lots of places he could have had Jorge hide out till stuff blew over, or just send him back to Mexico, had him go back to Mexico. Who knows? It would have been cheaper and easier for him to do something like that, to just give Jorge a handful of money and say, go home, than to deal with the legal issues and a lot more, way more money he might have to pay to somebody who might have gotten injured on a ride on Jorge's watch. It would have been way easier for him to hand Jorge a wad of money and say, go make yourself scarce, go disappear. And then to turn around and blame me. So, David St. Singh is a piece of shit. Really, truly a total piece of shit. Yeah, so there you go. All right, just putting that in. If I find any other little pictures with him in them, because I did take a bunch of pictures, at least when I first got out there. Oh my gosh, dude. I forgot to post. Yeah, I have video evidence footage, actually, of him riding his bike over to the barn. And I think I might have some video of him riding my kayak, because I let him take my kayak out on the water. Because I insisted that he should give it a try. And he liked it so much that he took it out twice. So you're welcome for that experience, Jorge. Hey, Jorge. Mr. everyone's racist and hates me and hates Mexicans, trying to convince me of that. Did anyone else go out of their way to make you really good BLT sandwiches? Or to just let you use their kayak for free? Just so you could have a cool experience and not ask anything of you? Anyone else that you met up here do that for you? How many people have you met, in your life that just did some shit for you just for the sake of doing it? Just for your sake even? And you fucking turned around and did this shit to me. You are a piece of trash, man. Really. Just a total piece of trash. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I'll post those other videos soon. I definitely have at least one video. Well, no, the video it was a video I was making to send to Jeremy Edwards, where I was talking to Jeremy Edwards about how I was going to try to get Jorge to take the kayak out, because I had been trying to convince him that he should definitely give it a try, because that he would love it. And during that video, Jorge happened to be riding his bike by on his way over to the barn, because it was leading up to a feeding time. I was about to head over there myself, and I happened to catch a clip of Jorge riding past on his bicycle, and I still have that video clip. So, yup, that one's gonna be posted soon too. Toodles.